Code of Federal Regulations for the Environmental Legal Research course at Boston College Law School. When Congress wants to do something that requires technical expertise or close oversight, they will often enact legislation that delegates authority to an administrative agency to create rules that regulate future conduct. The manner in which these rules are made is set out in the Administrative Procedures Act. Rules and regulations created under this process that do not exceed the authority granted the agency by the delegating legislation have the force and effect of law. They are a type of primary legal authority and, as such, need to be included in your search for binding primary legal authority. The Code of Federal Regulations is the topical arrangement of all the federal rules and regulations currently in effect. It is divided into 50 titles that represent broad subject areas ranging from agriculture to wildlife and fisheries. Some CFR titles have the same numbers as their U.S. Code counterparts. For example, Title 26 of the U.S. Code is the Internal Revenue Code, and Title 26 of the CFR is Internal Revenue. And some don't match up at all. For example, Title 37 of the CFR concerns patents, trademarks, and copyrights, even though those subjects are covered by Titles 35, 15, and 17 of the U.S. Code. The CFR is revised annually, which is why the official CFR volumes are printed as paperback books. Not all titles are revised at the same time. Titles 1 to 16 are revised as of January 1 each year, and Titles 42 to 50 are revised as of October 1 each year. Citations to the CFR should have the title number, the section number, and a year. For example, this citation to a section in the CFR title on parks, forests, and public property reads 36 CFR section 216.1 2025. It's important to include a year in a CFR citation since regulations with the same citation may contain different language in different years. The CFR part is the equivalent to the chapter in the U.S. Code. It's a collection of related regulations that should be checked to make sure you are reading the regulation in context. For example, a CFR part might start with a section entitled Purpose and Scope, or Definitions, which would be helpful to consult to fully understand other sections in that part. The part number appears in a CFR section to the left of the dot, making it easy to tell when sections are part of the same part. Before the first section in a part, there is usually an authority statement. This is the statute that gives the agency power to make these rules. There is also often a source statement. This is the equivalent of the statutes at large citation that appears at the bottom of a U.S. Code section. This is the citation to the volume and page in the Federal Register where these regulations were first published or later amended. Some individual sections within a part have their own source statements if they were added or amended separately from the part as a whole. A PDF facsimile of the CFR is available from the Government Publishing Office on govinfo.gov, the GPO's platform for government publications. The annual edition of the CFR on govinfo.gov goes back to 1996 and is exactly the same as the print volumes of the CFR. You can download an entire CFR title or individual chapters, subchapters, parts, or sections in either PDF or XML formats. Rather than browsing for the section you want, you can use the govinfo.gov search tab to pull up a CFR section by citation. Remember that the titles are updated on a quarterly rotating basis, so the most recent CFR available is sometimes from the previous year. The GPO also provides a more up-to-date CFR called the eCFR. The eCFR is free and usually never more than a couple of days out of date. This screen capture says the eCFR is current as of September 24th. It was taken on September 26th, and this is about the longest out of date I remember seeing the eCFR. This is great for finding out what the regulations are now, and also excellent for tracking recent changes in the CFR. The eCFR also has previous editions back to 2015, so it has some usefulness for historical research. Luckily, historical CFRs back to the original 1938 edition of the CFR are available through Hein Online. Use the Quick Locator tool to pull up a CFR by year, title, part, and section. There are current and some historical CFRs on all the major legal research platforms. The CFR is available through many interfaces. So how do you find the CFR sections you need? One way is through the authorizing legislation. 16 U.S.C. Section 1612 authorizes public participation in the regulations relating to the Forest Service. The Context and Analysis link on Westlaw provides a link to those regulations in the CFR. Similarly, on Lexis, if you start with the authorizing legislation, 16 U.S.C. 1612, the Research References and Practice Aids provides you with a link to the associated regulations. Another way to find relevant sections is through an index. The CFR itself comes with a single-volume paper index. Under the heading Solar Energy is a See Also reference to energy, and references to particular parts in Titles 10, 24, and 13 that contain regulations on solar energy in various federal programs. Westlaw has a much more detailed CFR index online. The entry for solar energy contains references to even more CFR sections, as well as a number of subdivisions like offshore renewable energy. There are so many references under this heading, it is divided into 3 documents. An index this detailed can help you more quickly identify the section of the regulations you are most interested in. Of course, you can also run a full-text search of regulations on any of the online platforms. But even more useful than the superior search engines on Lexis and Westlaw is the fact that there are references to interpretive cases and other citing references available from these systems. On Westlaw, the Notes of Decisions make this an annotated CFR, and KeyCite provides many more citations as well as context and analysis. Shepard's on Lexis also provides citing references for the CFR. One of my favorite features that is exclusive to Shepard's for Codes is the ability to get references to citing authorities that were citing to a specific subsection of the CFR section you are Shepardizing. Click on See Court Treatment of Subsections, then select the citation to the subsection you are interested in to find cases that have cited that specific subsection.